President, ladies and gentlemen, good evening from the library at my home in Saltaire, Yorkshire. I'm really sorry I can't be with you for this wonderful occasion in Ararat, but honestly, I thought that 2 weeks of quarantine in the budget hotel Ibis in the shadow of those rather shady Tullamarine superstores is, I hope you agree, not quite my style, or indeed an appropriate prelude to such an auspicious occasion as your 50th anniversary this evening. I never really had the chance to thank you properly, Danny, for the ASWGA tie you generously took off and gave me at the AWI AGM a few years ago, thus ensuring I'm appropriately dressed for this evening's event. I think you probably know, ladies and gentlemen, my links with the association go back a number of years, having first met Rod Thurkel-Johnson and Barry Walker at IWTO in Europe, and later Bill Crawford at IWTO in Hobart and at Riverina. Tony Gall, I think, was the first president I met in the UK at Taylor Lodge in Huddersfield. And, Gordon Kay, who I spoke to the other evening, the pioneer managing director of that amazing fine worsted mill that made the superfine 130s I'm wearing today, sends his very best wishes. Danny, over the years, Yorkshire has been the second home of your itinerant association presidents, and it's always been a great pleasure and indeed a highlight of the UK summer calendar to welcome over the years Presidents Frank O'Connor, Kevin Dunn, John Taylor, Helen Cathles and Simon Cameron. I know, Danny, that your finest Micron Merino clip has seen the delights of God's own country, i.e. Yorkshire, but we haven't had the chance to show you around or introduce you to our Woolmark team in London. I trust when travel permits you'll make the journey north in the footsteps of your predecessors. Prince Charles started the campaign for wool on Australia Day in January 2010 as a disgruntled wool grower with a poor wool check. The Prince of Wales from the outset was adamant his campaign should have a Commonwealth dimension, and Stu McCulloch at Woolmark ensured Australian wool growers' interests were very much an integral part of extensive retail campaigns in UK, Canada, Japan, Italy, and indeed here in Australia over the years. And more importantly, they will feature prominently in the forthcoming European autumn. The Prince of Wales' message is quite simple, and it says if you were to assemble the world's most talented boffins in the most state-of-the-art laboratory, they would never be able to come up with wool. I believe His Royal Highness's message about sustainability and environmental excellence for the troubled times we live in, particularly as vaccines open up the economies of the world's great wool-consuming nations, and consumers begin to celebrate, and that's the key word, celebrate a return to the new normal. For some form of normality is slowly but surely returning, as sales of finer micron knitwear rise exponentially and the green shoots of renewed interest in the made-to-measure suit business begin to emerge in the early spring in China, America and now the UK. President, I'll now give way to His Royal Highness, who has prepared some key messages for this evening's celebration.
It is hard to believe that it is now more than 10 years since I first inaugurated my campaign for wool, at what I knew was a particularly challenging time for this important rural sector. My hope was that if all the wool-producing nations could come together and work in a spirit of cooperation, perhaps we could find better ways to market this extraordinarily practical and versatile fibre, and at the same time help so many hard-pressed sheep farmers. It is now even clearer to me than it was then that natural materials which are not made from fossil fuels, are not inflammable, and which biodegrade naturally, have an important part to play as we face up to the enormous challenges of climate change. So I'm delighted that the message of wool's inherent sustainability is being celebrated over the coming days, and that in all its diverse end uses, wool will be highlighted as the fibre of ecological choice. The fact that over 1,000 global brands have now joined the campaign for wool suggests that the messages of sustainability and biodegradability and the persuasive case for choosing natural rather than synthetic fibres are finally starting to get through to people. They are asking searching questions about the provenance and content of current fashion and everything inside their homes. Only wool provides the ultimate reassurance of sustainability.
Present, ladies and gentlemen, whenever we need to feature a sheep in a photo shoot, we thank the Lord for ASWGA member Lesley Prior, whose flock of merinos have served as ambassadors for their Australian cousins at Clarence House, on Savile Row, at Selfridges, and at the Royal Academy, where we launched a new Qantas uniform. Danny, Lesley would like to close with a few words from her estate in Devon, where the sleepless nights of lambing have just morphed into many a long day of shearing. I'm awfully sorry I can't be with you, as I've said, and I do wish you a very, very pleasant evening on this very auspicious occasion.
Hello and good evening from England to all our friends in Ararat, enjoying their dinner, I hope, and celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Superfine Wool Growers Association of Australia. We wish very much that we could be there with you. We really had hoped that this would all have been over by now and we could join together. I could come out again and take advantage of all your friendship and your hospitality and your help and do what I always do when I come over to Australia, and that's ask a lot of damn-fool questions and get nothing but kindness and patience in return. And I miss that. I really do. I need it desperately. So we have to make do and mend, and instead we're just talking to you on video. So our association with you all began in 2013 when Peter Ackroyd suggested I meet Helen Cathles, and we went out to dinner here in London and had a fantastic evening talking wool and sheep. The following year, John and Vera Taylor came and we met them, and they in fact came to the farm, and John helped me a great deal with assessing the sheep that I had at the time, which were not particularly good. And John was incredibly kind in telling me how bad they were, but in the nicest possible way. And as a result of that, the year later, John very kindly offered us membership of the Superfine Wool Growers Association, and we've been members ever since. To me, this organisation represents the very best of what it means to be part of our industry. We're offered kindness, friendship, help, and just general companionship, because it's a tough old thing to grow this kind of wool. It's a niche market within a niche market. Wool, we mustn't fool ourselves. Wool is a minority fibre these days, and true traditional superfine is a minority fibre even within that. But that makes it incredibly special, and we all know that demand is going up again, thank goodness, and price is just about creeping up too. So we need to look forward, we need to keep positive, and we need to be grateful for the opportunity to come together and celebrate. I just wish we could be there in person. So without more ado, I wish you a very good evening, another fantastic 50 years, and Roger and I look forward so much to coming out next year when Australia, we hope, will open its borders and allow people like us in to see you all, when we can actually physically grasp you by the hand and get our hands on some of that fabulous wool on the back of your sheep. Have a great evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.